Hello everyone! I'm hoping this video won't be as long as the research methods video and the history of psych video. So here we go. So this video is all about the parts of the neuron. That's it. Now, I found one of my favorite pictures of a neuron in the biopsych book that is authored by John P.J. Fennell. Sorry for all the shaking. I call him Philip Fennell because the first book of his that I had, he went by Philip, but whatever. So it's a cool book. But here is one of my favorite pictures of a neuron. Okay? Now, this right here is a neuron, and this is another neuron. So this is separate from all of that. Okay? So hide that from your mental image, and let's just focus on this. Okay? So several parts of the neuron that I want to point out. First, you see all of this jazz right here? This is called your soma, or cell body. Okay, it's really where the vast majority of the cell's organelles are, where its nucleus is. This is where most of the internal action in the neuron are happening. You see all these branches, though, branching off of the neuron, and this long one here? Collectively, these are referred to as processes. But there are two kinds of processes in general. You have these short, stubby ones, okay, in this picture, and these are called dendrites. Now, dendrites' function is to receive incoming messages from neighboring neurons. So, for example, this is a neighboring neuron. You can see its little axon cut off there. This is a neighboring neuron. Well, you see how its dendrites are reaching out to this one? That's because this neuron is receiving information from this one through its dendrites. All right? Now, back up here. You see this long process that's stretching out to the next neuron? That's called an axon. Its primary function is to send messages away from the cell body. Okay? When I say messages, I'm typically talking about, well, I'm only talking about electrical signals. Okay? Now, you see these little purple dots? Okay? I'm going to pull it in here. If you can see well, it looks like the purple thing is wrapping around this long stretch. Well, remember that long stretch is called the axon, but the purple things wrapped around the axon are not the axon. They're actually a whole different kind of cell known as glial cells, whereas the neuron and its axon inside, that's just a neuron. But each of these purple things are actually cells called glial cells. But when they wrap themselves around, the glial cells that wrap themselves around an axon are collectively referred to as the myelin sheath. Now, the myelin sheath serves the function of basically conducting the electrical charge down the axon. It makes the charge go faster. And in one of the later videos, I'll describe how that's done. Now, so I've talked about the soma, or the cell body. I've talked about the dendrites. I've talked about the axon. You see this lump right here, right at the beginning of the axon? That's called the axon hillock. And it's said, some sources will say that that's where the action potential begins. Now, at the end of the axon here, you have these, again, I'm going to zoom in. You see the little bulbs there at the end? Like, they look like, well, they look like little swellings at the end of those branches. Those are called axon terminals. Now, in the axon terminals, so this is an axon terminal zoomed in. So this is that bulb. There are these little sacs. You see here? I don't know why I asked that question again. You can't answer me. But these little sacs are called synaptic vesicles. Now, synaptic vesicles are little pouches in the axon terminals that hold chemicals called neurotransmitters. All right. Now let's zoom back out. One last thing about the axon that I failed to mention before is you can see how the purple wrappings don't cover the entire axon. And that's a good thing. And I'll explain in a later video why that's a good thing. But these bare patches of axon, those are called nodes of Ranvier. And all they are bare patches of axon. And I'll explain, again in a later video, specifically the one talking about electrical transmission, why we need the nodes of RMDA. Alright, those are the parts of a neuron, and in a later video I'm going to be talking about how neurons send signals to other neurons.